Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Marie Trupek Lynch, founding president and CEO of Skills for Chicagoland's Future.
Good morning. I want to welcome you to our 4th annual Employment Champions Breakfast for Skills Chicagoland's Future. I really appreciate all the extra effort it took for everybody to get here today with the rain. You can imagine that's a tough way to wake up. So thank you so much for everybody for being here. Before we get started, I want to take the opportunity to acknowledge our sponsors and a special guest with us today. First, thank you to all 61 of our sponsors and those that purchased tickets. That's a new high for us, and so thank you so much. I want to give special thanks to our premier sponsors, Greg and Anna Brown, CDW, GCM Grosvenor, Motorola Solutions, and Sanmina. I also want to thank our presenting sponsors, Brad and Allie Singer, the Canning Foundation, EY, Exelon, Kirkland and Ellis, UL, and Walgreens. Thank you also to our honorary co-chairs, Greg Brown and Penny Pritzker. I'd also like to ask our event co-chairs to please stand. Our board members who are our co-chairs, Amy Best, Hillary Bachniak, John Challenger, Jeff Childs, Rich Flourish, Joseph High. Are you standing? Be proud. Mark Kendall and Seema Kathuri. Thank you. And stay standing for a second. If the rest of our board members could also stand, they've done a tremendous job this year, so thank you to all of our board members. We will hear in a little bit from Mayor Emanuel, but I want to give a special thank you to him. He's been at every single one of these breakfasts. Whether the Cubs won or whether it rained, he's been here. So thank you. We're excited to have you. We're going to give you a couple minutes here to eat and socialize at your table, and then I'll be back up to start the program. Please enjoy your breakfast.
Returning back to college from Thanksgiving, my brother was in a pretty bad car accident. The day after Christmas, my grandparents' house burned down. I was picking up my sister from daycare, and we were pulling up to the house, and there was tape. And I was told that my father was shot, and unfortunately he didn't make it. So when I got to my car back at the hospital, my first initial thing was, okay, I need to support my family. Traditional education is what I thought I wanted, and I was looking into different schools. Financially, I began to be burdened, so I started looking into secondary options, and along that search, I came across Skills of Chicagoland's Future. I did a series of interviews with staff there, led into interviews with Walgreens, and fortunately enough, I was offered a position. When I got it, it was actually just like a force that just came above me, and it was just like an intense happiness.
When we hear the stories of those that are joining us through Skills, so many of their stories are so inspiring. And I think that when we hear those stories, it only reinforces who and what we're about as a company, from being purpose-driven and really looking to inspire our own workforce. So they're inspiring us.
Understanding the language of corporations is what makes Skills so unique. And it's critical to really making good matches to understand both parties.
There's great talent in all demographics. Sadly, we're not able to tap into all of those demographics. Being associated with Skills allows us that opportunity to ensure that we are tapping into the best talent.
Personally, when I want to figure out how I can help students get to that next step, knowing that a partner like Skills can translate what their experience with the employer has been to what our students will need to be prepared for is really critical.
There's education partners, there's the community-based organizations, there's our mentor partners, and there's the business. Somebody has to be the glue in that middle to hold all those pieces together. Skills plays that role of actually being able to convene those folks, to be able to get the career pathway designed, to be able to recruit and identify the youth. The youth program was different for Skills. I think for all the staff, including myself, we got to know the youth. We all, I think, collectively felt like we were all in it together. And when some of the challenges happened along the way, I think we felt it. I know I did. I think everybody sees a little bit of themselves in who we're serving, and it feels incredibly important that we move at a pace that gets as many youth as we can into jobs as quickly as we can.
Certain days I feel challenged to endure, and the way that I see myself moving through it, putting my best foot forward and giving my all.
So while disconnected youth is incredibly important in this city, the reality is that the adults and the unemployment rate for adults is also high in many of our neighborhoods in Chicago.
There was a time where I was unemployed. There was no cash coming in, no money coming in at all. I was scared. I was in security at first, 20 plus years, and I was watching everybody else live their life, and I'm standing in one spot watching them. This picture on Facebook of this woman that looked like me in a hard hat saying, "You can succeed," underneath it. That changed my life. I got my technical training from James Adams Resource Center, and they were the ones who actually started telling me a little bit about skills. At first I was like, what do I need them for? I don't need to go now. I know how to do all this stuff by myself. And yeah, I did. Skills set up the interview with Friedman. Said Friedman would be a good fit for you, and I'm gonna send you for them. And I was like, okay. My name is Sheila Gross. I work at Friedman Seating as an assembler. I put together chairs for mass transportation, and I enjoy it immensely.
Employers need to be part of this city conversation, and that being at the table is critical, and Skills brings them to the table on a lot of these conversations.
We've been in Chicago for 125 years and plan on being here for the next 125 years. So our goal is to hire people from Chicago.
Adults are critical. We need those parents who are taking care of those youth to be just as engaged in the workforce.
The first half of my life was dedicated to my children and my family. I worked a job, wasn't really happy at. And then the second act should be for me. When it's all over, you can get your standing ovation, and that's what I want, my standing ovation. Yeah.
Skills is really positioned in the place of continuing to do this work until we've successfully removed the barriers that are blocking individuals from being able to obtain jobs. As we look out at the horizon, we look at the next 3 years, our goals are pretty specific. Number one, we want to place 9,000 individuals into jobs. Number two, serve 75,000 in skills offices and with our community partners together. And number three, we want to continue to focus on those neighborhoods in Chicago that have been the most affected by unemployment. Until those rates drop in our neighborhoods to match what's happening at the national level, our work's not done. Because every day we live and breathe thinking about how to get more Chicagoans into jobs. When this city sees a problem and they know that a job is part of the solution to the problem, I want them to call Skills. Seen that video a number of times, but there's something different about seeing it with Ja'Cory and Sheila in the room. I think they both deserve their standing ovation. Stand up. Thank you. Sheila, where are you? So people can wave your hand. Where's Sheila? There's Sheila. And Friedman Seating. Thank you. To date, Skills has placed 5,520 Chicagoans, each with their own story, into a job. Sharing one's story in such a public way is not easy. Thank you for doing that. As I reflect on our work this past year, and the 1,250 people whose lives we've changed just this year, it is clear to me that skills work, our collective work, is not done. It's not done until the unemployment rate in our neighborhoods match that of our city as a whole. One of the biggest requests I hear from funders and employers is for not-for-profits to collaborate more, to make services seamless for the job seeker, less confusing and easier to manage for the employer, and maximize investment for the funder. At Skills, we are focused on staying in our lane and partnering whenever we can. In some cases, Skills may be the lead, and sometimes we'll be a subcontractor. With the 2018 launch of our youth initiative Beyond the Diploma, we served as a lead and teamed with 5 first movers: Walgreens, CDW, Friedman, Rush, and McDonald's. And we engaged and convened several bold partners, City Colleges of Chicago with Juan and Eric, the Chicago Urban League, and 1 Million Degrees. Each one of these partners are equally strong in their own right. They really are. But we came together with one focus in mind: a comprehensive youth career pathway program that included an immediate job, mentorship, and an associate's degree. For these 5 employers, Skills served in the middle, providing the business intermediary work, the career pathway developer, and the recruiter to find the youth. We're also so proud that 2 of these career pathway programs are partners with the Chicago Apprenticeship Network. That is collective impact at work. But I'll tell you, the work isn't always easy. The youth initiative is actually the hardest project I've seen us tackle, and I would say in my career, the hardest thing that I've ever been a part of. With this youth initiative, the comprehensive web of supports is crucial, as the disconnected youth getting placed into jobs and schools are balancing all of this while facing homelessness, childcare challenges, trauma, and, well, just being a teen. But hard does not mean you pivot away. It means you work more fiercely and understand the stories and the results better to continue to evolve the program. Lives have already been changed in just a few short months. We've had youth come through the program that were testing well below the college level when they started and are now in college level courses within just 1 summer, and we thank City Colleges for that. One of our youth placed at CDW, who's here today, shared that the Skills Youth Program has changed his life. He shared with our team that because of this program, he's attending City Colleges while knowing what his career goals are, and he's supported by CDW's IT department, who are helping him along that pathway and being incredibly flexible as his dreams unfold. We've already seen youth move into lead roles and have had numerous employees of the month. Every one of these victories counts, and every one is so hardly fought and won. We also have to be a fearless innovator, even when we are entering a new space. I am so proud of the work our team quietly did this past year through our brand new Jobs 101 program, which is a high school program. It's at Intrinsic High School. We were at Crane Medical Prep, Gary Comer Prep, and Gary Comer Youth Center. And many of you don't know that because we did it quiet our first year. Our team delivered career exploration and job readiness curriculum to more than 500 students, surpassing our goals, and brought in industry leaders to share their career journeys and conducted site visits with 5 employers. We had never before worked with 16 and 17 years olds and feel so grateful for the funders that took a risk with us. Today, a full school year later, we want to expand into more high schools and create a citywide career fellows program for high school students who are seeking or need an alternative to the traditional 4-year college route. And no better way than with 60 employers in this room for us to be able to connect you to the high schools. Skills did all of this without losing track of the thousands of unemployed and underemployed adults. With the lens on youth and the youth unemployment numbers, it is easy sometimes to forget about the adults. But let's not. They're our neighbors and the backbone of our family and our communities and the parents of those youth. Skills will always advocate for and amplify the needs for adult unemployment. As you just heard in the video, we recently completed our new strategic plan with the goal of inspiring every company in Chicago to hire the under and unemployed. Our goal is to add value to the broader workforce system beyond just placing individuals into jobs. We want to continue to expand our role as an intermediary for business and not-for-profits, and if every business in this room made a commitment to either hire unemployed youth or adults through Skills, or another organization, we can collectively put 9,000 people into jobs. Our youth work has become incredibly personal for me, as I'm a mom of 4 kids, with 2 of them in high school, and one of them here today. And when I help my kids dream big about their futures, and think about your own kids as I say this, we guide them through their first jobs, we help them get through their college applications, but it's never lost on me when I'm doing this that my daily work is about trying to do the same thing for thousands of youth across Chicago who don't necessarily have that support system. Think about what we can do together. How many of you have opened up an internship or a job to a neighbor or a friend that asked for a break for their child? Now imagine if each of us left today and made a commitment to open up an opportunity to a youth or an adult who may not have that neighbor. I know at Skills we have the proven model and the dedicated employers that allow for our youth and adults to get jobs. We just need to move faster. We can double and triple our numbers and put even more people into jobs tomorrow and create 9,000 Ja'Cory and Sheila stories. I hope you'll join us. Thank you. So I want to move us to the award today. While we have more than 50 businesses that engage with us annually, committed to hire the unemployed, each year we award the highest honor to an outstanding corporate champion. And I will tell you, it is competitive every year, and each year continues to get more competitive, and this year was no different. This year, the honor is going to a partner that has engaged with us beyond just hiring. This partner has served on our board since 2013, is a hiring partner for adults, and was the first to raise their hand to create and be a part of the Beyond the Diploma Youth Initiative. In fact, Walgreens has also already committed to bring on 2 new youth cohorts in 2019. Many have asked me, why was Walgreens the first? Well, it was because Kathleen Wilson Thompson wanted to create a life-changing jobs program for the city, and she shared this vision with us at a breakfast with me 3 years ago. Every Walgreens leader that she brought to the table from that moment on was engaged and committed. And what was so striking to me that I want to share with all of you is that it was more than just an initiative for Walgreens and the people she brought, it was a calling. Please listen.
The Champion for the Unemployed Award is presented to an employer partner that demonstrates support for skills by hiring the unemployed, providing pro bono and financial support, and serving as a corporate advocate. The 2018 Champion for the Unemployed Award honoree is Walgreens Boots Alliance.
One of our core values is ensuring that we have a diverse workforce. We have to be the kind of organization that will attract and retain diverse people to be involved in the kind of mission that Skills is involved in, something that was personally and professionally interesting to me, and I had a passion for ensuring that we could also impact positively the communities we serve. Collaboration is key with this, and we knew that if we brought these great teams together with the right ideas and right resources, we'd have something really special.
Since 2014, Skills has placed over 80 job seekers at Walgreens in a variety of roles. Walgreens has also provided generous in-kind support and financial support totaling $225,000.
We believe that we can scale the Beyond the Diploma program vis-a-vis a different industry or a different career path. We have great people, both at Skills as well as Walgreens, unsung heroes. These are the people beyond the data, behind the data, that get things done every day through passion and expertise. It's a beautiful blend. We couldn't do what we do without the teams that we have.
Congratulations, Walgreens Boots Alliance.
I want to introduce Jeff Cazell from Walgreens Boots Alliance and thank him for being a fearless first mover, and thank you for accepting this award on behalf of Walgreens. Please come up.
Well, thank you, Marie, for your generous introduction and for the great videos that we've already seen this morning. I am honored, quite frankly, to accept this on behalf of all of the people at Walgreens across the country. And I am thankful for the opportunity that Skills for Chicagoland's Future provides to not only help people, but find a good job and a chance to advance, but to earn a degree and achieve their dreams. As someone who was born and raised on the south side of Chicago, to be leading operations for Walgreens, I certainly have achieved those dreams as well through many different support groups as we see today. Most of all, I'm inspired by the people that our partnership serves. We'll meet one of those remarkable people that you saw in the video, and is a Walgreens team member, Corey. As many here know, Chicago has been the hometown of Walgreens for more than over 100 years. Ever since Charles R. Walgreen opened our first store at the corner of Cottage Grove and Bowen Avenue on the south side in 1901. Today, Walgreens is part of the first global pharmacy-led health and well-being company, Walgreens Boots Alliance, with nearly 400,000 team members in 25 countries. But Chicago is still the place we call home, a place where we're proud of as one of the most successful and productive cities in the world. At Walgreens, our success and productivity starts with attracting, training, retaining, and supporting talent from every walk of life, to serve our customers and patients who also come from every walk of life. That is why we appreciate the chance to partner for Skills for Chicagoland's Future. We know from our century of experience that having a workforce that is diverse in every way is not just the right thing to do, it is the smart thing to do as well. Having a diverse workforce helps us see and sense and better serve the needs of our diverse customers across Chicagoland, across the country, and now across the world. This partnership brings Walgreens even closer connection with our neighborhoods within Chicago. It permits us to help address unemployment in our communities, and it brings us new talent that we need. Speaking of talent, Corey is making his way up here. It is now my pleasure to really introduce the star of the show. This young man indeed has inspired myself and has seized the opportunities for the partnerships that it provides. And Corey is now working for us. He was from the south side of Chicago, is now a member of our Walgreens team members as a customer service associate at our store at 1601 North Milwaukee Avenue. So really let me introduce Corey and let him tell you his wonderful story, which I hope inspires you as well. Corey.
Thank you for that warm introduction. Good morning. As most of you may know, my name is Corey Garrett. I give a thanks to Skills for providing me with this opportunity. I'd also like to give a special thanks to Walgreens for giving me the morning off to join you guys here. I would like to start by just saying that everyone has a different story, and we all collect pieces of our story to form our narrative as we move through life. And as you saw early in the video, my story is currently defined, or largely defined, by my father. More specifically, the void that was left when he was taken from us. My dad's name was Corey, and earlier this year, I had to say goodbye to him. In that moment, everything sort of had to change. My family all had to step up and do more to help support each other and just make room for the future. What did that mean specifically for me? It meant working more to provide more income, helping raise my 18-month-old sister, and just taking on more responsibility. So at this moment, I'm just recommitting to making sure that everything that I'm doing is making the lives of the people I love even easier. Considering that my family's been through so much, I feel that helping out with my sister, continuing to work more to pay the family's bills, will only lighten the load each day. However, loss can be an incredible motivator, and I also want my family to know they don't have to worry about me. Because what mother really wants her son to be the man of the house at 19? Sure, I know the burden that it lifts, but realistically. That's why I couldn't pass up the opportunity to become a part of the Skills Beyond the Diploma program and work at Walgreens. Working for a company like Walgreens, learning the business from the ground up, and having the chance to advance through the company, all while they invest in my education, is helping me secure a future for my family. Walgreens invests in us as employees because they care, and I'm a witness to this firsthand. Both Walgreens and Skills have helped me through the difficult time of my father's death. They supported me and gave me something stable, work. I knew that I had a place to be, and that stability truly helped me. While the loss of my father is a big part of my story, it won't be the only thing that defines me. Everyone's stories has different twists and turns. I hope that mine won't mirror yours, and I hope that yours doesn't mirror mine. I can confidently say that I'm on a path to success. I know that around a year and a half, I'll be done working my way up at Walgreens, completed my associate's degree at Harold Washington, and beyond the diploma program is helping me secure a future for my family. I'm excited to dream about what the future holds for myself and where this pathway will take me. On behalf of myself, my family, thank you, Skills, thank you, Walgreens, and everyone who supported this work. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Mayor of Chicago, Rahm Emanuel.
Do me a favor. I do this obviously for a living, but give him a hand again, Jakari, for. The other thing is, I'd like you to do me a favor. Is if you don't know, Jakari's grandmother is here. I got to know her through other incidences with the family, coming to visit and to call, and as I just told you, you've done well and you deserve a lot of praise for doing that and holding everything together. You know, I was sitting there listening to you. I was hoping that there'd be a speaker between me and you. Second is, I do want to say, I used to say this at the White House. Thank God it's Friday, 2 more work days till Monday. So if I'm a little exhausted, I apologize. It's raining outside. It's been it's hard to say this is a long week. It's like every other week I've had for a while. But I want to give Skills a lot of credit because they always organize this breakfast right around my budget, so I'm kind of locked in no matter what. Either I get breakfast or this is like the most expensive breakfast I have. So you. Since day one, the city of Chicago has always committed, having helped develop the program literally in my office with Penny Pritzker, $1.5 million to literally standing up and supporting Skills. And since I'm having my 8th consecutive breakfast at Skills, we're going to do another $1.5 million of my budget. That is a inside joke among all of us, that the only way I can get breakfast around here is if I commit to the 1.5, and it's right around the budget time. Nobody else has figured out how to do exactly what Skills does, which is... But I want to do one side note, and then I want to come back to the main mission. And a side note, but I think it's important for all of us while we're talking about the economy, jobs, moving the entire, not part of the city, but the entire city forward. You know, right now, there's a jury that's still deliberation on the Laquan McDonald incident and the trial of Jason Van Dyke. And I know there are many questions that a lot of Chicagoans have and how the city will react to the verdict. And as the jury is deliberating, I want all of you to know that I have absolute confidence in the Superintendent Johnson, his plan, and the police department, and I have absolute confidence also in the residents of the city of Chicago. This is our city, and this is our home. And I hope that everybody heeds the advice of Laquan McDonald's family, the pastors, the community leaders, to make their message heard and what they have to say, and do it in a way that's respectful to the city that we all call home and the future of this city. I have seen that cooperation and that collaboration this week in South Shore community with Deputy Chief Betts, community policing, and the residents there. I've seen it on the west side with Pastor Brooks and community leaders as they forge that partnership. And whatever the verdict is, our work as a city is not done in bridging and helping build community relations between the police department and the residents of the city of Chicago. I also want to address this core issue, which is jobs and economic development, as I prepare for my budget. And the reason is, just yesterday I was on the west side of the city of Chicago. We announced a new facility to build solar panels in the city of Chicago, and also all the LED lights for the city of Chicago is the largest LED plan for the city of Chicago. All our street lights are becoming LED lights, and they'll be assembled here in the city of Chicago by Chicagoans for that future. It will employ 40 people. In the same way that you just saw a video with a great employee who has a great future at Friedman Seating. That's a facility on the west side. Been here for about 100 plus years in the city of Chicago. And they just won, about 3 years ago, they're now at 800 plus employees, the first ever CTA seating contract for the new buses that we're doing. Here in the city of Chicago, as the police department gets new vehicles, they're being manufactured at the Ford facility in the city of Chicago. And we made a commitment that if we're going to modernize our police department's vehicles, LED lights, new buses, smart meters, that the companies that win that contract should manufacture those products here in the city of Chicago, employing people in the city of Chicago. As I was on the far west side of the city of Chicago yesterday, announcing, and that company that builds, the Wills company that will build that solar panels and the LED lights, and they're employing 40 ex-offenders. We turn the corner, and you have a straight shot downtown from Garfield. You can see the image of the city of Chicago, the image of the city to the world, and the image of Chicago to us. We're going to have a new factory that's going to help the city of Chicago go not only LED, but the entire street lights for the city, the largest of its kind, and for one of the first companies ever in the city to build solar panels, all by ex-offenders. That image of Chicago is the image of strength, power, optimism, both to the world and to ourselves. But as you turn the corner from what is an empty lot that's been empty for over 30 years, there are men on the street corner with no purpose and no relationship to the rest of the city of Chicago. Today, the unemployment numbers came out. It's 3.7% nationwide, the lowest since 1969. The mission of Skills and the mission of this city today is not to lose this historic opportunity. Do not look back 3 years from now and say that another generation was lost and cut out from the economy that is growing at an unprecedented rate, with the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years. What Ja'Cory just told you, which is what Skills does and what the community colleges does. He's doing everything right. Got a job, going to college. The question is, are we going to reach our hand to his hand and say that if you're taking responsibility, you're going to school, you're getting a job, you're helping your family, we as a city will stand by a person who has the right values and making the right choice for his future, because his future is our future. Bakari is going to Harold Washington. He's not just got a job. He knows that that job is a launching pad to a career, not a job. That's what Harold Washington's about. The men on the west side I saw were graduates of the University of Sidewalks. And our responsibility is to get them off that sidewalk and get them in a place to work. If they're willing to make that step, that they want to leave that sidewalk, we as a city have to take this moment and not lose another generation to that sidewalk. They deserve better, and we need better in this city. When I became mayor, which seems like a long time ago to me, I had employees looking for employers. The unemployment rate in the city of Chicago was 10%. Today, you have employers looking for employees. We don't have a person to waste in the city of Chicago. And there's nothing more important than being integral in part of the economy that people see. This is a solvable problem, and I'll tell you why. When I became mayor, our graduation rate was 56.7%. Today, the freshman on track rate for the city of Chicago is 90%. It's one of the highest of any urban system in America. 68% of our kids now go to college, one of the highest in the United States of America for an urban system. 47% take college credit classes in high school, so before they graduate, they already have the confidence they could do this. And I say that by way of not just measures. 30%, literally 30 years ago, William Bennett called the Chicago public school system the worst in the United States of America. If he could get through TSA, I'd have him here on a one-way ticket to see success. And what I'm saying to all of us is you can go to the south side, you can go to the west side. Chicago's unemployment rate is now around where the national numbers are. But we all know there are people that are cut off from that success. I was just asking Greg and Mark, do they think the economy stays at this pace? They say you can basically see out to the first half of 2019. When unemployment goes back up, will we have thinned out the men that are standing on the west side of the city of Chicago without a job or an education? Or will we have gotten thousands off those sidewalks and at Friedman Seating and at Walgreens and at all the other companies that have signed up? This is the urgency of now. This is all of our responsibilities. It's not charity, it's a necessity for the future of the city of Chicago. As I said, we don't have a person to waste. It has been my honor as a mayor that every budget, I've earned my breakfast. We're going to stand by, and we don't just write the check and support the mission. That's 1,400 people that will get employment. We also hire them at the airport. On the way in, I met a man who's working for HMS Host, who's employed at the airport. You all know, and I want to close on what Marie said. We as a city have reflected through after-school, summer jobs, everything that we've increased. We have the largest summer jobs program in the history of the city. We went from 14,000 to 33,000 kids, more than doubled it. My kids who came home from college, the others that didn't, no, but I helped them when they had a summer job. Why? It's not just a job, it was a career path. It was a reflection of their work. Who here hasn't provided their child an after-school activity? Who here, when your child is struggling with a subject, has not helped them with a tutor? Those are all the things the city of Chicago now does that it never did before. But for all those who want to be part, do not want to be where they are, and are willing to make the decision to journey on a different path, we have the responsibility to stand by them step by step, shoulder by shoulder, as they take their way into the economy that we're all part of. Jakari can come up here and speak to all of you with confidence because he's made a set of choices, and skills have given him the opportunity to realize, not just to his family, the most important person Jakari convinced that Jakari has a future is Jakari. And if he has that confidence, to all the people in London, Berlin, New York, Beijing, Tokyo, watch out, Chicago's coming for you. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage Daniel Cervantes, Vice President of Finance, Administration, and Workforce at Skills for Chicagoland's Future.
Thank you, Mayor Emanuel, for your time, your commitment, in making this all this possible from the very beginning. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. As I stand here, it's inspiring as one of the original employees that came on board in 2010 to sit in a room, to stand here in front of you in a room full of change makers, thought leaders, innovators, partners. It is inspiring to see how we've been able to accomplish and really impact the lives of over 5,500 Chicago residents. I came to Skills inspired by Marie's vision of being a network for the unemployed, being that person that can connect them to employment. That role became even more personal for me after my father lost his job. It's one of the reasons why I'm still here today. Although we've hit a lot of milestones and we look towards the future, there's a lot that we still have to accomplish. As part of, one of the pieces behind that is to do more will be our engagement with the community partners, and the local workforce system. That's why I'm thrilled here to stand and present the Advocate for the Unemployed Award to St. Sabina Employment Resource Center. This partnership is a prime example of how the local workforce system provides that ecosystem. Thank you to all the folks at the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership. This is one connection of many that I know will happen. Founded in 1998 to serve the Auburn, Gresham, and Inglewood communities, St. Sabina ERC has been a key partner and inspiration to all of those employees at Skills in their approach to serving the community. Let's take a look.
The Advocate for the Unemployed Award is presented to a community or non-corporate partner that collaborates with Skills to drive results, serving as both an advocate for the unemployed and a champion of skills. The 2018 Advocate for the Unemployed Award honoree is the St. Sabina Employment Resource Center.
There's about 10 to 12 communities in Chicago that have double-digit unemployment. There's this unequal playing field, so people need jobs to not only stabilize themselves and their families, but to help stabilize the community. So building a relationship with places like Skills and other organizations that help employ and help bring people together and help find folks employment so they can stabilize themselves and others is absolutely necessary. One of the most difficult things for us is finding those employers that will hire folks from the community. So Skills helps surface those kind of employers and those kind of opportunities.
To assist people with finding a job that they love so that they can build a career, but ultimately for them to become self-sufficient. For any human being, being able to meet their basic human needs, right? Shelter, food, clothing, taking care of their families. That's all we want to do. There's so many more events that have happened over the past 2 years that I would say our relationship has probably almost doubled in the interaction that we've had over the previous years. And we've seen success stories, and we've seen people getting hired faster because of that relationship.
If we call ourselves Chicagoans, then let's start doing things that make all of Chicagoans have access and opportunity.
Congratulations, St. Sabina Employment Resource Center.
Accepting on behalf of the St. Sabina Employment Resource Center, I'd like to welcome Phil Hunter, Director of Community Employment.
Please welcome to the stage Chairman and CEO of Motorola Solution and Skills Board Chair, Greg Brown.
Good morning. So I can't believe that this is the fourth employer champion breakfast. I mean, our first one was in 2015. It's been a while. And when I think about the first breakfast in 15, it was something of a coming out party for Skills. I had joined the board 6 months prior to that, and in deciding to become chair, it's an important decision. We don't have time. None of us have enough time no matter what we do. So you have to think about whether you really want to do it or not. And I asked myself 3 questions about whether to get involved and whether to chair. 1, can I make a difference and an impact? 2, am I passionate about the cause? And 3, what's the strength of the leadership of the president? And at that first breakfast, I listened to the stories like Chicori's of Skills Impact, and then looked out at so many leaders from Chicagoland's business and civic communities, and I knew right then and there I'd made the right decision. Being part of Skills has been an immeasurably rewarding experience for me. I'd say it even more than that. And I was talking to Mark about this before. I'm blessed in that I get to do and participate in a lot of different things. Not-for-profit, civic, community. I will tell you, and this is my 26th year in Chicago, this is the single best run, most impactful organization I have ever been a part of. And the reason is that the organization doesn't sit still. The economy is always changing, the job landscape is always changing, challenges faced by the unemployed and underemployed Chicagoans are always changing. But for Skills to remain demand-driven, we too must continue to innovate and change. Now, Marie and her team have always sought out where they can make the biggest impact and where they can be strong advocates. When Skills launched with the mayor's sponsorship in 2012, the city and country were still feeling the effects of the recession. Unemployment was constantly in the headlines. But then, in 2015, when I joined, many people were beginning to think that the unemployment wasn't important anymore. The economy was starting to hum again. Chicago's unemployment rate was down to 5.5%. But Skills remained strong and steadfast in its advocacy, pointing out that the economic downturn was not the reality. The upturn was not the reality for all populations and all communities. You saw that in the video. We can do a victory lap, but many in the underserved communities are significantly and negatively impacted. They pointed to the thousands of talented job-driven seekers who couldn't get their resumes to the top of the pile, even though they were more than qualified. So Marie joined the chorus of civic leaders who pointed to youth unemployment as an urgent priority. Now, one thing I found so impressive about Marie and her team is that they're always self-evaluating. They're always looking in the mirror. What can I do better? What can I do differently? They're deliberative, data-driven, and they're always asking, how can we improve and how do we get better? And as youth unemployment started to gain more attention, Skills could have highlighted the issue and doubled down on its existing programs. And it wouldn't have been a bad idea. Youth made up 43% of Skills placements last year. But Skills took a closer look. They talked to youth. They talked to employers. They talked to educators. and then came out with a comprehensive initiative. This approach is beyond the diploma, has turned out to be such a promising program. Now, while the data is important, and so are the stories like the one Ja'Cory shared today, and you, young man, are super articulate, confident, poised, and impressive. You got a bright future. Never lose sight of the fact that every one of the Skills 5,500 placements has a story like his. When you give someone like Ja'Cory an opportunity to prove themselves, they'll rise to the occasion. And when you multiply the impact across thousands of Chicagoans, you change neighborhoods and you lift up a city. So I've stood at this podium every year we've had a breakfast, and I've watched the audience get bigger and bigger, the faces more and more numerous. Every year, more employers have started hiring through Skills. More community organizations have seen the value in partnering with Skills. And more funders have recognized the return on investment. And that's the last point. That's why we're here this morning. So our country's at it's at an interesting point. We have a lack of civility, confrontational discourse, division. Many think it's better to tear people down than build them up. But at the end of the day, you have a choice. You can choose to do that, or you can inspire and fulfill dreams like Ja'Cory's. So I know, being involved with Skills for 4 years, that the number one thing that stops 5,500 from being 10,500, or 1,400 a year being 3,000 a year, is resources and money. So I ask each of you, first of all, it's a Friday morning. It's early. It's in the rain. Some of you drove down here. We and I appreciate it. I do not want you, this is not just a breakfast and a nice thing for the mayor. I really and we really appreciate every one of you all the way to that back wall coming and having the soul and the spirit that represents the very best of the city of Chicago. So I ask each of you to contribute. So at this time, I want you to take out your cell phones. There are instructions behind me on the screen. And I ask you to consider making a gift to Skills right now, before you leave. If you have the capacity to give more, give more. If you have limited capacity, that's okay too. Just give a little. Just a little. Every single thing counts. So text Skills to 243-725. There are also pledge cards available at your tables to fill out. A member of the staff will come by and pick it up. Now, to date, coming into this morning, we've raised $883,000, which is our highest ever. But we really want to get as close to $1 million as we can. And if you do the math and think about it, with 500 people in the room, we can lead this breakfast and do that. So I'll give you a moment. Or two. Please. Thank you. So, I thank you again for joining us this morning. This is deeply personal for me. And it's deeply personal because actually this is my last breakfast, not breakfast, but breakfast as chair of Skills for Chicagoland's Future. following Penny Pritzker and Glenn Tilton, and I'm now passing the torch. But before I turn over the podium, I want to say some final thank yous. Thank you to my colleagues on the board of directors. Classy, committed, dedicated. That's another thing I'd say. You know, we all kind of sit on committees and boards. You call in, you mail it in, maybe you're there, blah, blah, blah. That's not what this board does. I'm telling you, it's not. It's got a soul and a passion and a lock arms, stack hands commitment and a unifying fabric that makes it pretty distinctive. I thank the skills team for being the lifeblood, the oxygen of what we do, and you do it so well with professionalism, grit, determination, hard work. I thank Marie. Marie's the best. Marie is the best. Data-driven, high energy, hyper, in a good way. But as you kind of roll through fast and your engine is always revved high, you should take a moment and reflect on all the people's lives you've impacted, including mine, by the way. You're a star. And I want to thank the mayor, Ram. His support was essential. He launched this thing 6 years ago. Having the most consistent support of the city, it's helped Skills develop a deep network of relationships with employers and community organizations across the city. And I will say personally, and we've had a lot of conversations on Skills, not just on budget, he has always, not sometimes, not most of the times, not 90% of the time, always been there for me, for Marie, for Skills, and for the communities we serve. 100%. An unwavering, no blink, no but, no pause in his energy and financial support of the city to Skills. And I thank you for that, Ram. Always. And now I'll conclude with a very important introduction, and that's Mark Hoplamazian, President and CEO of Hyatt, because tomorrow he becomes the chair of Skills for Chicagoland's future. So will you join me up on stage? And I'll just say this, we and I put a lot of thought in terms of the leadership and the next chair. We needed someone who's deeply committed, not just intellectually, but emotionally and viscerally to Chicago. We needed someone that understands the power of a business and the impact a business can make in the communities it serves, and the power of careers to change lives. We needed someone with strong personal values, but who imparts those personal values onto Hyatt. And I'm profoundly grateful that Mark has decided to say yes. He will be an outstanding chair. He will be the best chair this organization's ever had, and he will take it to even newer heights. Congratulations.
Wow. That is very generous of you, Greg. I have to say, the one thing that you mentioned during your talk that really caught my attention was you thanked a lot of people, but you also acknowledged the board, and you described it as having soul and passion. And I have to tell you that my experience of learning about Skills and the mandate and the mission from Greg directly, and also spending time with Marie, I can't begin to describe the depth of the commitment and passion that I feel. And actually, every single person that I've talked to here today is here for a really important reason. That passion is derived from the impact that this organization is having on individuals. It goes down to that individual level. And I think Jacori's story is just a remarkable example of that. So I can tell you, Greg, that I'm absolutely dedicated to honoring your legacy and your leadership. And let's all face it, passion is derived from the leader. And so what I see in this room and I see around the board table and the board members' commitments are all derived from your fantastic leadership and what Maria's done over the number of years. It really is a tremendous honor for me to be able to come into this role as chair of this organization. It is an incredibly compelling opportunity to assist an organization that's focused on one of the most critical needs in Chicago and in the world. We do business in 58 countries, so I see it everywhere, which is helping those in need of a job and a career path. The mayor said, this is actually not a nice to have. He said it's not a charity. This is a necessity, and I couldn't agree more. The whole idea of trying to close the skills gap and the opportunity gap is essential to our future. It's essential to the entirety of the community in which we're operating and as businesses and in which we're living. It also, from a personal perspective, fits very, very closely with what I'm passionate about and what we have been committing ourselves to at Hyatt. We are a purpose-driven organization. Our purpose is to care for people so they can be their best. Of course, in the hospitality world, that often translates into how you engage with guests. But really what we mean by that is how we also engage with our colleagues and the members of the communities in which we operate. In particular, the ability to have an impact on the community by bringing people into the hospitality sector, into Hyatt, is unique. You can join our company with almost no skills, and we can actually help you grow and realize your dreams. I mean, Jacori mentioned this was not a job opportunity at Walgreens. This is a career opportunity, and I feel the same way about the opportunity in hospitality. So we're in a unique position to be able to make a significant difference. As a skills employer partner, we've already added a number of colleagues with the help of Skills. I think we've had something like 16 new members of the Hyatt family that Skills has helped us identify and bring on board. I'm also pleased to announce today that Hyatt is joining Skills Beyond the Diploma Youth Initiative as an employer. Thank you. I see this huge need among youth and young people to come into the workforce, and it's something that we're really seriously committed to on a global scale. In fact, earlier this week, we just announced a new global program which we call Rise High, with HY at the end there to signify that it's Hyatt. And our commitment is to hire 10,000 opportunity youth by 2025, and we plan to do that with the help of organizations like Skills, Skills here in Chicago, but organizations like Skills around the world. We believe that it's a unique way for us to be able to fulfill our purpose and really make a difference in the communities in which we're operating. You know, they say it takes a village to raise a child, and I think what's become clear here is that it takes a community to really create fantastic job opportunities and career paths for people in need of them. Companies, members of the community like companies like Walgreens and organizations like St. Sabina's Employment Resource Center, for example. Critical partnerships, City Colleges of Chicago, thanks to Juan Salgado, and also the Chicago Cook Workforce Partnership, thanks to Karen Norrington-Reeves. And all of this is only possible because of the mandate and the vision of the City of Chicago and Mayor Emanuel. So I want to thank everyone. Thank you. I just want to thank everyone for being here because, you know, this mandate is for all of us. We all can be a part of the future success of Skills. In fact, it's dependent on your participation. And you all heard about the urgency, and you all heard about the opportunity to make a big impact. So I'm thrilled to be here. I look forward to seeing you all at the next breakfast, including the mayor. Even though you may have a different job at that time, we're still welcome for breakfast. Thank you very much.
All right, I'm the closer. I know. Thank you to everybody for staying a little bit longer. We, because of the rain, we started a little bit later so we can get everybody here, so thank you. Quickly to close, first, Greg, thank you. Thank you. I can honestly say that you've been completely instrumental in helping to transform our organization and bring it from a place where it started to a place it is today. You've left your imprint on us, on me, and on 5,500 Chicagoans. So thank you so much. We have a little surprise. We have a plaque and a book of letters of commemoration to thank you for your work, and we hope you never forget us because we won't forget you. Thank you. We hope you keep making phone calls for us, though. You're very good at that. And Mark, we've struck gold again. We could not be more happy to have you as our new chair and to take on this new partnership. And Hyatt's been an incredible partner, and we look forward to the future. So I look forward to working with you. So before we conclude, just a quick thank yous, and then we'll get you all out of here. First, skills staff, please stand. Thank you so much. There's 45. Thank you so much. Thank you. A quick special thank you to Sharita, to Kyle, to Kevin, to Ben, to John, and to Kirsten, the people behind the scenes, and of course to the Hilton staff here who helped manage all this today. So thank you so much. We also want to thank Sheila and Jacori so much, and Jacori's grandmother for being here. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. If your cell phone wasn't working because it was so busy, we couldn't get a connection, underneath your plates are the envelopes. And so if you can just hand it to a skills staff person at the doors on the way out, literally every single dollar matters, and we'd be really grateful for that. So thank you for that. And then next year, our event, Friday, October 4th, I'm going to call it right now, no rain, and the Cubs in the playoffs. Okay? So we'll see you next year. Thank you.